All right, you freedom loving boys and girls, Mark Centerline System. Hey, today is Saturday, the 31st of March. This is take number 2 on this video that has to do with customization. Why is it take number 2? Well, because we're going to have a family barbecue once we're done with this. People drove in as I was filming and apparently said they didn't know I was filming and made all kinds of noises. So I guarantee now they're going to fuck with me. I shouldn't probably swear. That's how I get banned on YouTube. But I'm probably going to get effed with as we do this video. So this video, let's jump into it. Customization. We're a handcrafted, custom-made shop. All of our material, just going to reiterate it, we have a rule of 3. It's got to be made in America. I strive for mil spec wherever possible. We've got 1 or 2 things that are actually not mil spec. Actually, only 1, and that's our Wolf Gray Kadura. It's still real Kadura brand Kadura, but it's not mil spec, and I would challenge anybody to be able to find out why, because it's like 2 minuscule shades less than the actual mil spec. As you can imagine, getting real mil spec Wolf Gray is kind of hard to do. They don't make a ton of it. But anyway, and then berry compliant. The Cobra buckles that we use from Austria Alpine, berry compliant. All right, so that's who we are. Custom, handcrafted, and it's all made by hand, right? I'm cutting the patterns, we're sewing it, the whole 9 yards. This isn't some giant CNC, machine fabrication, giant warehouse, made in China type of facility. So on that note, I wanted to talk to you about customization because something just happened really cool with the customer. I want to show it off. Yep, spoiler alert, you can skip through this video and go to the end because I'm not going to talk about it until the end. Because in the meantime, I want to share a story or 2 and then just kind of give you a better sense of what do we mean by customization. So I guess maybe we'll just get the negative out of the way. I've had people, as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you something on the G3 here in a little bit. I've had people who reached out and they want hey, make this for horses or do this thing for me. I want that. And okay, hey, that's not a bad idea. I'm willing to entertain that because that might be a good product. Or, if you're serious, you, the customer, if you're serious about this, well, then, we can go down that road. But a lot of people think, you're just sewing it, right? And I'm like, okay, that's going to be 2 days labor for one person, 1 day labor for another person. That's 3 days labor total, materials, da-da-da. Okay, I'll do that for you for $600. I'm like, what? I thought this was going to be $40. I'm like, okay, you're not serious, right? But we've had other people who get that and they understand it. And we've torn apart people's rucksacks and, reconfigured things. We've done special products for the FBI, special products for the United States Forest Service, et cetera, right? So we can do no joke custom stuff if you want to buy some quantities, or if you're willing to be like, no, I want to have, and the thing I'm going to show you is going to be the one of a kind. I don't want to give too much away. I'll get back to that. But if you're like, yeah, no, I get it. I'm paying you for your labor, materials, da-da-da. Yeah, and I understand I'm adult and I know this isn't for free. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. But all that aside, here's a lot of the customization we do on a weekly basis. And this just really boils down to somebody reaching out to me and asking a question, hey, could you do this? Could you do that? And those small minor things, when we're not reinventing a product completely, that's easy peasy lemon squeezy. So here's some of the things that we do quite a bit. One of the most, I guess probably one of the more common ones is we just make the flap on the big boy or the regular folding saw pouch or the big boy. We make the flap a little bit larger because of the saw you're using. The big boy works for a big boy folding saw from Silky. The folding saw works on the Gomboy, the F180, the Baco Laplander. You can see there's a lot of flap there, but sometimes people are using it for other things and they just want this flap to be a little bit longer. Now, if I loosen this all the way up, you can see there's still a good 2 inches of excess flap, but sometimes they want more. On the folding saw pouch, though, truth be told, what we'd probably do a little bit more of, and I should probably advertise, leave me a comment in the comment section below if you like this idea. More often than not, what we get is, I just did the molly on the backside so you can see my hand. Imagine if that was your belt channel. This was around your belt if you were going to wear it on your waist. But, that means this is your belt and this is kind of above your waist a little bit. What we've done quite a bit of is actually just made a big belt loop right here. So we take that webbing and underneath where that seam allowance is, we're putting 1.5 inch webbing in there. And that way your belt is up here and then this is riding below your waistline. We do that quite a bit. So if that's something you're interested in, all you got to do is reach out to me. And I'm going to reach out to each and every one of you when you place your order to confirm stuff. We're going to talk through this. But if that's something you're looking at, that's easy peasy lemon squeezy. One I just did a week or 2 ago. This is our rucksack, the shoulder straps for the rucksack. I don't need the rucksack out here for it. I send it to you disassembled because you have to figure out how much adjustment you want. If you want your ruck high, middle, or low, that's all up to you, individual in the gear you're carrying. But this guy was a little bit rotund, barrel chested, and was just a little like, hey, but I don't know if that's going to be enough adjustment. Okay, well then we just did the 1.5 inches, an additional 6 inches, and then the 1 inch down below. We just added like 6 or 4 inches. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. And we just added extra material to it so he could make even more robust adjustments off of his shoulder strap. Right? So even the pads, the shoulder strap on the rucksack or the mother, we make 3 different sizes on the shoulder straps there. We can make adjustments in that sense. I'm going to save this one for last. I'm going to get into the G3. So this is a G3 in the awesome Nemesis camo. Right? Gotta love the Nemesis camo. But this was a customer request, and it was actually based by the guy who's running the camera right now, cousin husband. He's big into ham radios. So he wanted us to make the G3, but have a vinyl pouch here. And, we use vinyl for our everyday organizer and our Mini E anyway. So we just got rid of the pocket. We had to tweak it a little bit. This is actually about this section right here is just a little bit longer so we could accommodate this, but that was easy to do. This meant I cut this piece a little bit differently, and then how we sewed it. So small things like that, don't hesitate to reach out. I mean, and again, when I show you this, the main thing I wanted to show off, I was like, well, okay, I normally would say no, but if that works out, I'm going to be really interested, so I'll consider it. Here's another one. So this happens. You know who you are, sir. He's ordered a bunch of these before. Follow him on Instagram. He takes great outdoor pictures. I forgot to mention, these are the clowns that we're talking. That's why we're doing take number 2. So these guys came in, rolled in, and like, oh, we didn't see you were filming. I'm like, bullshit. So I knew they were going to do something. Say hi to the I don't know, was that both of them, Paul, or just... so now one more person's going to mess with me in this video, so just stay tuned. So anyway, but you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, right? So like our belt pouch and, our utility pouch. So this gentleman, he's been in the chat before. He doesn't like, this is our design. We cut that corner off so the corner doesn't get caught up and start flapping around. He actually likes it squared off. So we square up, we don't cut the corner down for him, and then we put a snap where the corners are because he wants it squared, but he also wants the Velcro, plus he wants a snap up here. Again, that's an easy modification. That's an easy customization. All you got to do is reach out, if we can do it, we can do it. And then be an adult. I just had 2 guys last week who'd reached out about some things. One, we've got a product that we're working on, so I just like, hey, I don't want to do this for you because we're doing something very similar, and I hate to, say it, but kind of hang out. And the other one, it just wasn't going to work. The amount of time and effort we would put into it, what I'd have to charge them, and I just told them, like, look, I can still do it, but you're not going to want to pay the amount of money that I'm going to charge you. And we're not going to take it on because it's not a long-term product that we want in our product lineup. So, so sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But here's an example of one where it does work. Herb, you know who you are, sir. Great guy. Herb reached out to me, what was that, 2 years ago? And what he wanted is, so you can see the bottom of the mother, it's got attachment points, but he wanted attachment points as far out on the corners as possible. So where this webbing retention goes in for the pocket flap, we made it so there's loops here on the ends. I don't have it on mine, but that's what Herb loops are called, right? So we just added on there, and I'm like, hey, if you like this and if this comes out, we'll offer that to anyone else, and I'm just going to call it Herb Loops. So, from now in infinitum, until the end of days, there are Herb Loops, and people are like, what the hell are Herb Loops? Well, those are those little loops down there if you want additional attachment points. Something that we can still do. Haven't had anyone really ask in a long time, but back in the day when we were making these near the beginning, our shoulder straps was a male on one end and then a female on the other. Now mine's male, but a male and a female. So that way, in extremis, you could take your shoulder strap, plug it in, and use it as a belt, a sling, wrap it around a tree as a tree protector, you know, all kinds of stuff. I still get some people every now and then who want that setup. So again, all you got to do is ask. Now, and I'll talk you through it. It means we have to adjust because you can't have a female buckle on both of the pocket flaps. And there's some options in how we can do that. And then that also goes into the G hooks. Now, I don't have one set up, but maybe you don't want plastics on the pockets. Well, we can replace those with G hooks. They're a little bit more expensive. They're metal, they're thin. So again, customization. And then on that note, before I go into the last, other things, just like on our keepers. Now, on the website, you'll see the keepers say, you know, do you want this type of, do you want just the loop? Do you want a D-ring? Do you want a male buckle? Do you want a female buckle? But other things, like if you've got a snap shackle, you know, these are pretty cool. If you got a snap shackle or some other type of device that you want on a keeper, if we don't have it, or if I can't special order it, you know, then I would just ask, you know, because I've done this with people, well, hey, wherever you're getting it from, just get it. You know, you're getting it cheaper, or as cheap as I could get it. Just get it and drop ship it to me, and then I'll throw it on to, you know, whatever it is that you're asking me to do. And then last but not least, before I go into the final product, is it's the same thing with Cordura. So we use Cordura brand Cordura, real Cordura. And, you know, we did, this is, well, it's normally called frog skin. We call it tadpole. It's that old World War II Marine Corps camo. We did this, what, 2 years ago, a year and a half, or whatever it was, for the Seymour Young Marines. They were going to Pearl Harbor. And so we did a charity auction using this material. And look, and I'll just be honest, you know, like, because a couple people have asked about this, and I don't want to talk too much stuff, but I'm not necessarily happy with where I got that. So maybe we'd have to source it differently. But again, or this is the one I get more questions on. This is ATAX AU, the original, not AUX, but AU. This was, they stopped making this for a while. It just came back in. I might bring it back in, but, you know, like, you know, look, if somebody wants something, you know, like, there's a couple places where you can go and buy it online, you know, get the same price as I would, right? You know, because you're not buying it in bulk, and neither am I. But, well, or I'll just go and get it for you, you know? So if that's something that you're interested in, and if you see a picture on our social media or something, and we don't have it on the website anymore, just ask. What does it hurt if we ask? And then here's the point I want to get at. Better check my 6. I'm a little, my cousin's floating around someplace, and I don't know what he's up to. And he's going to probably embarrass me in the middle of this video. I got a sense that's what he's going to try to do. All right, so here we go. Mike, you know who you are, sir. So a gentleman reached out to me a little over a month ago and wanted to know if we could make a mother canteen carrier in wax canvas. And here it is right here. And this thing looks so badass, and it feels really cool. I think Mike gave me, he gave me permission to keep it for the weekend so I could shoot this video. It came out really awesome. Absolutely love the way it looks. Here's the problem. It bleeds. It's like pollen. It just rubs on everything. So, you know, you've got to time, just even making this one product, we had to be very, okay, well then that part's got to be here. So then I do the snaps or whatever, and then we can go back and finishing it, because once we're done with that little section, we have to clean every tool all over, because this just literally, you know, you look at it and then your hands are green. You know, we haven't worn our shop aprons in a long time. I mean, this material is really cool. There's no doubt about it. It's like, he said it was like Korean War vintage. He got it from some kind of online thing. But it just bleeds. That's not the right term, but, you know, like, it's like pollen. It's just, then it's green stuff everywhere. So one of a kind. And I was willing to do this because, you know, I had no idea how it was going to sew. We had no idea it was going to be that maintenance intensive, right? And that's what it was. You had to clean everything. Everywhere this material touched had to be cleaned, because, you know, I obviously can't risk that cross-contaminating your product. You know, imagine you ordered wolf gray or black, and then there's all these big green smudges on the Cordura. So we couldn't do it, and unfortunately, we're not going to, I shouldn't say not. In the right here, right now, we're not going to make anything out of wax canvas. I seriously would have to set up a whole different production line of tools, machines, all that stuff, just a different cutting table, the whole 9 yards, because it left too much residue. But if we can just kind of end it, I don't know if you can zoom in just a tad. You got that? And then here, there, Here, I should have stuffed it full of just some stuff so you could see it and it had its full shape. But yeah, Mike, just thanks for reaching out and just asking. Um, I wasn't sure what it was going to look like, but I saw the green and like it's a darker green. So it's kind of like, it's just really cool. So here, wrapping it up on that note, maybe I can get this done before Devin has a chance to mess with me. I know he's around me, so he's like a freaking predator. He's probably up in the tree or something. But seriously, I just wanted to point out we're a handcrafted, custom made shop. If you've got an idea or a question or like, hey, could we do this? All it takes is a phone call, right? That's it. Just call me, shoot me an email, and then we'll just figure it out and we'll work through it. I mean, and if we can do it, we will do it. If we can do it, but it's going to cost extra money, well, that duh and are obvious. And if we can't do it for whatever reasons, like, no, I hear what you're saying, but it's not as easy as that. I actually would have to construct a whole new product, and I'm willing to do it if you're willing to pay for it, as opposed to the what? 3 days of work, and you're going to charge me, and it's not going to cost me $40? I mean, that's just unrealistic, right? So we'll skip over that. But Mike and everybody else, again, the two gentlemen from last week, Herb from before, oh, I forgot, cousin husband with like, hey, can you make me a special G3 for radio stuff? And even like the mud flap, which isn't on the website anymore. And the moment we took it off the website, then we, got people reaching out and wanting it. But this, I had a bunch of people who were asking for a cover for the mother. But what really compelled me to do it wasn't because, I'm like, why would you want to cover? Don't you just want to drink it? Oh, it gets dirt inside. Well, turn it upside down. It's not hard. But it was a gentleman who's kind of still doing some cool guy stuff, and he wanted a low vis kind of gray man ability to carry, personal defense weapons, first aid, stuff like that in a less than permissive environment without it looking like he's carrying all that kind of stuff. So that's how this actually design came about. He had reached out to me and I'm like, okay, well, you're still going to want relatively easy access, but now honestly, from that perspective, and I don't have this on right now, but that could look like a camera bag and that could attract, a criminal element. But, from a tourist perspective, that doesn't look like anything tactical. If I had this on and adjusted properly, that doesn't look tactical. It looks like you probably have a camera bag or some kind of man purse. Well, he was carrying a Glock, a bunch of magazines, first aid, commo, all that kind of stuff in there. So again, that's all it takes sometimes is reach out, because if it's something where I know I could do it and I could do it in a cost-effective manner for you, and it's something that maybe other people would be interested in, then we're really going to entertain that, right? So all you got to do is reach out. I think his whole intent was just to leave me in suspense, because I swear to God, I keep feeling like he's going to do something at the very end. So let's wrap it up. Thanks for watching the whole video. Sorry about the jackassery. But if you got questions, comments, reach out anytime. I'll do the best I can to help you out. Until then, keep thinking, keep moving, never quit. All right, everybody, we'll see you on the next one. Woo!